Hello, everyone. My name is Alexis Hutchinson, and I'm here today with a very special guest from ECTC. I'm going to let her introduce herself in a minute, but definitely tune in every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. for the FYI Talks podcast. There's always super great episodes, just like this one being posted, and we really hope that you join us. So, would you mind to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you so much. I am Katie Meyer. I'm the Director of Library Services here at ECTC, and I'm happy you all are joining us today to learn about some of our services and what we can offer you, not just in your online classes this semester, but hopefully when we all get back on campus and start living life how we used to, what the library can offer you in person.
Absolutely. And so, can you kind of run through some of the services? We all know about checking out books and things like that, but I feel like the library here at ECTC serves a lot of different purposes. And so, can you kind of give a rundown of what those are?
Sure. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think, one of the greatest things we do is check out books that people are most familiar with, but we are so much more than that. We were really lucky to have a great renovation last year. So our physical space is really modern. It's really geared towards collaborative learning, but still holding on to that kind of sacred space for solo study. And we're located in the LRC building, which is kind of tucked behind the Student Center in JSO a little bit by parking lot K. And with that renovation, like I said, great study spaces, new furniture, but we've been also able to bring in other outside kind of value added services like a chess table. So we have students come between classes and we'll start a chess game. We have group study rooms, which are really important. And most importantly, we were able to add a maker space. It's kind of our pride point. And I hear you say, well, what's a maker space,
I
Katie?
was going to say, read my mind.
Yeah. And a maker space is an area where students can come in and create. Basically, it's the barest simple terms, it's a place to make. We
Mhm.
have a 3D printer. We have a Cricut like die cutter machine. We have some button makers, traditional arts and crafts, some 3D pens, a sewing machine, and we're really hoping next year to start building the technology side of it a little bit more and adding another 3D printer, looking into Raspberry Pi technology and sort of microcomputing in
Mm.
general. But it's free of charge for students, no appointment necessary. You just come and you sign in and, of course, read the rules and the policies and ask for help if you need it. But it's really a place for independent exploration and learning. It's a way to add on to what you do at the college in addition to, your core classes. It's a real way to kind of build that brain power that really taps into um, one's own passions, one's own guidance towards learning, whether that's more on the art side, whether that's more on the technology side, whether that's even more on the, it's a place to kind of hang out and just kind of, work on something with friends, which has great value to it as well. So we've been really proud of that space. It's really been a popular space, which I've been thrilled about. Unfortunately, due to COVID, it is closed right now. There's no way to maintain social distancing, and there's no way to really sanitize,
Oh, yeah.
arts and crafts, after each usage. But, the minute we can open it back up, we will open it back up. So that's kind of our physical space. But where the library shines is really our digital space, our digital collections. And with that, we offer over 80 databases, and those are basically, you can think of that as a digital library. So
Mhm.
instead of coming in and checking out your book, you can access articles from magazines, newspapers, from books. We have a streaming media and film database, and these are super useful for any sort of writing assignment you have, whether your instructor is requiring you to use library sources, or even if it's, you know, um, analyze two or three things. It's a great kind of one-stop shop to find information from authoritative, substantive sources without going into the great beyond of Google and just kind of,
Yeah.
pecking around to see if you can find something that will work. In over 500,000 full text ebooks. So, you can't store those in our physical library. We just don't have the space for that. So that's been a great addition to our space. But with that collection of digital materials, I think the most important thing is the help that we give
Mhm.
to help navigate those materials. I think a lot of us take for granted the ease that Google offers us. And so we tend to attack all of our research and our learning with our Google brain. And that's a great place to start. I love Google. I'm huge, or, Yahoo, whatever, web searching.
Yeah.
Huge advocate for it. But I always say that it's a great place to start, but a horrible place to end.
Mm.
Because it is kind of, it's a huge amount of sources, and also the types of sources that you find by doing a search is different. Everything you receive for the most part is going to be a web page, which might have news content on it. It might have entertainment content on it. It might have, kind of collaborative or social media content. And all of that has value, but sometimes it's difficult to analyze that and, most importantly, evaluate it. And when you use the library databases and, seek out help from the librarians on how best to navigate those, or even how best to navigate Google, I think one of the biggest values we can offer you is frustration and time saving. So I love when students reach out to me and they say, "Oh, I should have reached out to you earlier." Like, it really makes me feel good that, I've helped them, because we really know kind of the finer points of how to work these tools. And like I said, even Google has some hidden tips and tricks. Some of it is navigation, but some of it is also, helping you guys really define what you're looking for, whether that's really refining keywords, or just sometimes talking out loud to us about honing in your thesis statement, and maybe,
Mhm.
what is that supportive argument or that supportive information you're looking for to really uh, guide your paper. So, we can help and assist with those sorts of things. Lots of ways to get a hold of us too. We have a chat service, which is right now available from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. You just, chat in and give us a minute or two. Sometimes, we may be away for the desk, and, currently I'm working at home. So, I may be away from my computer, but it's kind of a right there point of need, help. Always come into the library. We do have reduced hours right now, but, we would welcome you in to ask questions. We have an Ask a Librarian form. We have a text number. You can always send us a text message. You can send us an email. And we also have research guides specific towards certain topics. And I try to offer a workshop once a month to help really get into some of these specific databases for certain types of papers or assignments that you guys will commonly get assigned.
Mhm. Well, that's fantastic. It sounds like the library is just opening up so many different realms that people might not think of, and all that support is just incredibly valuable. And so you kind of touched on how the library is making that transition into a virtual space. And do you see that kind of trend continuing as far as like having a very bolsterous online presence, but then coupling that with a physical location? Or do you see anything happening with that in the future?
I really see it building. Not only do I see online classes remaining strong still, but we're branching out in where we teach our classes. We have
Mhm.
classes in Springfield and in Litchfield. We teach a ton of dual credit classes right now. And sometimes it's just not feasible to get to the library, when we're open. Hardin County is a pretty big space, and sometimes it's just not, we can pop into the library, life happens. And so having that convenience of online, not just resources, but online help. I hope to continue to grow it. One thing that I've really been growing is my presence in online classes. So it's called embedded librarianship, where the librarian is kind of part of your class to a certain extent. Some faculty just kind of like the librarian available, which is great. It's kind of a one click away in your Blackboard shell. And some faculty members, depending on the course, really like a more hands-on approach. And that I really love because it can offer instruction right there in your Blackboard module, but it
Mhm.
also is just a direct line of communication. If something comes up for, help or questions or just, a quick navigation.
Awesome. Well, that's fantastic. And I think that a lot of students would really benefit from having that, like you said, right at your fingertips kind of support and another way to ask those questions. That's incredibly valuable. And so, another question that I have is when we look at a library nowadays, and especially at ECTC's campus where we see it the most, do you see a library transitioning from the traditional model that we're all familiar with, and do you see it becoming more of a media and community space, or do you think it's still maintaining a lot of what a traditional library is, like you said, solo studying and kind of research based, or do you see it transitioning into that community space?
That's a really interesting question because I think, assumptions about that. And then after we did the renovation, I kind of had those assumptions challenged.
Mhm.
So when I was making decisions for the renovation, what I really was guided by was this trend of, college libraries are really becoming more of a collective space, whether that is a hangout space, whether that is an area for collaborative learning and group projects. They've become very, in a sense, physically open, but also welcoming. Like um, in terms of, kind of the old stodgy rules of the library, we don't hold on to those. Like you know not in COVID times.
Yes.
We welcome food and drink. Our only rule is if you spill, let us know so we can take care of it. We welcome people to, talk at a reasonable level. We don't mind that you're working with, a partner or with a group. So and like I said, we've brought in a chess table, we have jigsaw puzzles sitting out, we offer DVDs to, check out. Magazines. We've built a graphic novel collection. So we've had these moves to kind of where the modern academic library is going. Having said that, after the renovation, I did get feedback from students that they miss the study carrels. They really value that space to be able to kind of tuck away and focus and have that solo time to themselves. Whether it's, they don't have that at your house for various reasons, or it's just, what they depend on a library to have. So it's really a good mix of still holding on to those traditional things we think about a library, but being able to bring in this other side of it and this other service. And the way our building is set up, it's really, especially for just one floor, it's one big open room, but we were able to kind of separate it into areas. The very back is our silent study area, and we do really kind of hold that. That is a space for students to have that. I kind of call it a sacred space in a way. So we really do monitor that and expect students to, respect other people's need for that silent and solo study. But as you kind of get closer to the door, it gets, a lot more relaxed, a lot more, open to hanging out or collective collaboration. And I was also able able in the renovation to move some computers away from the main kind of computer lab, which is the busiest and the noisiest part of the library, and kind of move those more towards the back. So if you needed that kind of more focused, quiet computing, we can offer that. As we grow, I would like to add more. Technology services. I would like to bring in something called uh, a library of things is what a lot of libraries call it. And it's being able to check out kind of non-traditional items like a microscope or, sometimes technology like e-reader, like a Kindle or a laptop. Some of that's going to take, reaching out to you guys as students to see what the needs are. Some of it, of course, is going to be guided by budget. And some of these things are just going to be, kind of low cost, fun things that either we just wouldn't purchase on our own because, it's a one and done, or, or we would just, never think of using it. So I really hope to bring in some technology that way too for students to experiment with different technologies, kind of, almost a test room. Um,
Definitely.
yeah, yeah. So that is where I see the library kind of expanding from our traditional services.
Gotcha. And so do you see that fostering a lot more learning communities? Do you see students kind of, they all come to the library and they form, little study groups, or they're meeting people and they're interacting with each other more than you maybe saw in years previous before the renovation?
Yeah, I really do think so. And of course, a lot of that depends on the class.
Mhm.
Certain courses are more geared towards collaborative learning or even collaborative study. We have a lot of our nursing students will form study groups very early on in the semester and use the library, and specifically the library group study rooms, to
Mhm.
really have that time together to quiz each other, to be a support. But we do see a lot more just using the library as a social space and a hangout as groups, which I love. That is what I feel should be what we offer as a library and as a place on campus.
Mhm.
Um, and you don't need to come to the library to study. We
Oh,
welcome you
yeah.
guys to come to the library and eat your lunch with somebody. So
Definitely.
yeah, I definitely have seen an increase in that. I do think the renovation is responsible for a lot of that. It's a beautiful space, good lighting, really open, uh looks fresh, looks fun. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else about the library or the services, or any kind of words of encouragement you'd like to give students in this time? I know that, like you said, we are limited in this COVID environment, but anything that you'd like to let them know about your services?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say you guys are doing great. This time has been challenging to everybody. It's been challenging to your instructors. It's been challenging, to your family members. It's been challenging to you. And we started out with this with, like, it seemed like every day something changed. There was a new policy. We were going to try something new, etc. And now we've kind of, hit, we've been at this a few months now, and we've kind of hit, you know, maybe what it's going to look like for a little bit. And the resilience I've seen in students, the tenacity I've seen in students, the grace I've seen with students has been really impressive. So I just want to say, you guys keep it up. We see you, we hear you, we're right there with you. It's tough. It's
Mm.
tough, but we're going to do it. We will get through, and we will be successful. So having said that, I want to encourage you guys, reach out. Like I said earlier, one of the best services that I try to offer is to save you guys time and save you guys frustration. And with that, of course, you learn how to navigate these things. You learn how to find better sources. You learn how to craft a better paper based off of these sources. And So, reach out early, reach out often. Um, Many times we'll have students come up to the desk and say, "Oh, I'm sorry to bother you." And like, absolutely not. Like, you are our priority. You are why we are here. So please, reach out. And like I said, everything comes off of the library webpage. So our library databases from the library webpage, chat, ask a librarian form, sign up for the workshops. That's all from the library webpage. And you can find that from we're a tile in my path. We are under it's now under quick links on the main homepage. If you go to quick links and current students, then you can find the library tile from there. Or in Blackboard, you'll see an e-library tab. It's a little more hidden, but you'll be able to access the ECTC library from there.
Awesome. And so are you hosting any workshops anytime soon? Any ways to
We
get involved?
are, yeah, we are. Let me check my calendar real quick. We are doing a EBSCO workshop this month, and EBSCO is our largest collection of databases. It offers everything from full text ebooks to articles from magazines and academic journals and newspapers. And that is going to be, I'm going to do one on Monday, November 16th, and then Tuesday, November 17th. And one is in the afternoon, and one's kind of, I think it's 4 p.m., kind of later afternoon. You can sign up under research guides, and then you'll see one for library workshop sign up. And an email went out to all students this Monday, and there's a link to register. Those are all online through Blackboard Collaborate. So if you are familiar with that, you kind of know it's just a click a link and you're there. Not only are they workshops to kind of learn the databases, it's also a great way to get one-on-one help, especially if we don't have that many participants. Of course, that depends on how many people join us, but if there's time, like, I'm happy to take time, after the workshop and work one-on-one to really kind of help propel your research forward. I hope to maybe the last week in November offer one on our streaming film collection, which is Films on Demand. I like to offer that one more. It's great. It's educational films and news and documentaries. It's really great. But I also like to offer that one right before school gets out for the holidays, because there's some really cool stuff on there just for your own independent learning. I kind of refer to it as educational Netflix. It's got a lot of PBS shows on it. It's got some HBO documentaries on it, which those are pretty cool titles. Lots of things from history, education, BBC, etc. So really cool stuff on it. Great for your research papers, great for any sort of assignment as well, but also for those of you who kind of like, educational programming. It's really a great source to just use to learn and watch those types of shows or films.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been wonderful, and we hope that all students take advantage of all the great resources that you listed today here. Don't forget, guys, reach out. We'd love to help you. Ms. Gidier would love to help you figure out those different sources and databases and ways that you can really take your paper up to the next level and things like that. Tune in next Tuesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. for more awesome episodes of the FYA Talks podcast, and we'll see you guys later. Thank you.
Great, thank you.